second graders. We are getting pretty close to ending our book. I think we only have about 4 or 5 chapters left, which is pretty crazy. I've loved it so far. I hope that you're enjoying it too. Today we are on the 15th chapter for Dr. Dolittle, and it's called Tutu the Listener. And in my mind, I'm thinking Tutu is the owl, and usually they're known for being pretty wise, and so it would make sense that he's a good listener too. But I have no idea what this is actually going to be about, because I definitely wouldn't have guessed that there would be pirates in this story or all kinds of crazy other adventures that they've been on. Okay, having thanked the sharks again for their kindness, the doctor and his pets set off once more on their journey home in the swift ship with the 3 red sails. As they moved out into the open sea, the animals all went downstairs to see what their new boat looked like inside. The doctor leaned on the rail at the back of the ship, watching the Canary Islands fade away in the blue dusk of the evening. While he was standing there, wondering how the monkeys were getting on, and what his garden would look like when he got back to Puddleby, Dab Dab came tumbling up the stairs, all smiles and full of news. "Doctor," she cried, "this ship of the pirates is simply beautiful. The beds downstairs are made of silk with hundreds of big pillows and cushions. There are thick, soft carpets on the floors. The dishes are all made of silver, and there are all sorts of good things to eat and drink. You never saw anything like it in your life. Come and look. Oh, we found a little room down there with the door locked, and we're all really crazy to see what's inside. Jip says it must be where the pirates keep their treasure, but we can't open the door. Come down and see if you can let us in." So the doctor went downstairs, and he saw that it was indeed a beautiful ship. He found the animals gathered around a little door, all talking at once, trying to guess what was inside. The doctor turned the handle, but it wouldn't open. Then they all started to hunt for the key. They looked under the mat, they looked under the carpets, they looked in all the cupboards and drawers and lockers, and they looked in the big chests in the ship's dining room. They looked everywhere. While they were doing this, they discovered a lot of new and wonderful things that the pirates must have stolen from other ships. Cashmere shawls as thin as cobweb, embroidered with flowers of gold. So that a shawl is, if you remember, we talked about this in class a few times. It's kind of like a jacket, but it doesn't have specific arms or anything. It's just kind of like a blanket that you would wear like a jacket almost. Let's see. Jars of fine spices from Jamaica, carved ivory boxes full of Russian teas, an old violin with a string broken, and a picture on the back. A set of big chessmen carved out of coral and amber, a walking stick that had a sword inside, 6 wine glasses with turquoise and silver all around the rims, and a lovely big sugar bowl made of pearl. But nowhere in the whole boat could they find a key that fit the lock. So they all went back to the door, and Jip peered through the keyhole. But something had been placed against the wall on the inside, and he couldn't see anything. While they were standing around, wondering what they should do, Tutu suddenly said, "Shh, shh, listen. I do believe there's someone in there." They kept still a moment. Then the doctor said, "You must be mistaken, Tutu. I don't hear anything." "I'm sure of it." "Shh, there it is again. Did you hear it?" "No, I don't. What kind of sound is it?" I hear the noise of someone putting his hand in his pocket." "What? But that hardly makes any sound at all. You couldn't hear that out here." "Pardon me, but I can. I tell you, there is someone on the other side of the door putting his hand in his pocket. Almost everything makes some noise, if your ears are only sharp enough to catch it. We owls can tell you, using only one ear, the color of a kitten, from the way it winks in the dark. That's some pretty good hearing. Well, well, you sure surprised me. That's very interesting. Listen again and tell me what he's doing now. I'm not sure yet. If it's a man, I don't know if it's even a man at all. Maybe it's a woman. Lift me up. Let me listen at the keyhole, and soon I'll tell you. So the doctor lifted up the owl and held him close to the lock of the door. After a moment, Tutu said, Now he's rubbing his face with his left hand. It is a small hand, and it's a small face. It actually might be a woman. No. Now he pushes his hair back off his forehead. Nah, it's a man, all right. Well, women sometimes do that. True, but when they do, their long hair makes quite a different sound. Shh. Make that fidgety pig keep still. Now, all of you, hold your breath a moment so I can listen really well. The pesky door is so thick. Shh. Everyone be quiet. Be still. Shut your eyes. Don't breathe. Tutu leaned in and listened again, very long and very hard. At last, he looked up into the doctor's face and said, The man in there is unhappy. He cries. He has taken care not to blubber or sniffle, so we won't know he is crying. But I heard, quite distinctively, the sound of a tear falling on his sleeve. How do you know if it wasn't a drop of water falling off the ceiling on him? Asked Gub Gub. A drop of water falling off the ceiling would have made 10 times as much noise. Well, said the doctor, if the poor fellow's unhappy, we've got to get in and see what's the matter with him. Find me an axe. I'll chop down the door. And that is where we're going to stop today. So there's a person on the boat. The boat is very fancy, which I don't know. I wasn't imagining a super fancy boat for pirates. They seem kind of like they wouldn't have the most fanciest of things, but it makes sense if they stole it all. Anyways, I hope you guys have a great afternoon, and we'll see you soon.